Hello everyone, you all know what it's time for. It is time for another 3 looks 1 palette, this time with my Divinity palette by Strobe Cosmetics. It looks like this. I've done a first impression on this. If you want to go check that out, I will leave that up there. So given that I've only used this palette once, I'm really excited to dig into it again and see what looks I can create with this, because I just saw Beaut Bean do a 3 looks 1 palette with this, and I think it's so funny that we're always like right after each other. Usually like I'll do a palette and then she'll do the same palette, or she'll do the palette first and then I do it after. So we both kind of seem to gravitate towards the same palettes, and we both do a lot of 3 looks 1 palette videos. So today it is my turn, and I don't know yet what look I'm going to do today, but I'm going to start off by priming my eyes like I always do with my MAC paint pot. So I'm going to go in and set my primer today because I want to see how these shadows blend on top of a set base, because I feel like they are going to perform pretty well since they're all kind of dark colors. So I'm going to try this because at the end of the 3 looks 1 palettes that I do with new palettes, I always make this my review video, so I want to make sure I test it out in every way that I can. I'm first going to dip into Rati, and honestly I don't know how to pronounce any of these names, and I know they're all supposed to be like mythical creatures or something, but I'm going to dip into Rati and I'm going to put that as my transition shade. This doesn't show up a bunch on my skin, which I'm not expecting it to, which means if you need a transition shade and you want one, this is the perfect shade to do so with. And I like this because it's like a cool toned kind of taupey shade, and it just works well with especially the blue that I'm going to go in with afterwards. So I'll be honest, I still don't really know where I'm going with this, but I'm going to dip into Bastet, I think that is how you say it, which is this darker blue shade. And I'm going to use my ColourPop E9 brush. I actually have a new one that I have not used yet, which is so exciting because new clean brushes are the best. So I'm going to start by packing this onto my outer corner before I start blending it into my crease. And this is definitely showing up as more of like a gray blue than a blue, if you will. But I do want this to be a bit of a grungy look, so I'm just gently blending this in a little bit. I'm going to go in with a bigger brush in a little bit, but I just first want to put down the shade where I want it. And this shade is building pretty nicely. So I'm going to switch over to my BH Cosmetics fluffy brush, and I'm going to start by blending this more into my crease and just kind of blowing it out. And it's okay if this is kind of messy because it's supposed to be. I'm also going to kind of wing it out a little bit. And I will say that the shade seems to be kind of blending away a little bit. It does adhere somewhat, but it definitely lost a little bit of the pigment, so I'm going in with more. And I'm trying not to blend it too much this time. So I'm going to keep it like this and try to do the same thing on the other side. So this is as dark as I was able to build it up, and it's still not as dark as I would like it to be, so I would definitely say don't set your base with these shadows. I feel like they're going to perform better on a sticky base. But the shade blended out beautifully, so that's good. Next up, I'm going to go do a half cut crease. And today I am going to use my P. Louise base, but I'm going to use the white one because I think I just want to put that first shade that we put in the transition on top. This Rati shade, I think I just want to put that on top and then go in with a very popping inner corner highlight. So that is the plan. So I'm taking a little bit of my primer on the back of my hand, and I'm using this little Alamar Cosmetics brush. This is my favorite for cut creases right now, and it doesn't even say what it's called, but it's a very small flat concealer brush. So I'm going to do this the way I always do it. And the one thing I don't like about this primer is that you see this, like you kind of transfer, like it's kind of like, I don't know if it's too wet or what, but it's done that to me many times now. So now that this is done, I'm first going to go back in with that Bastet shade, which is the darkest shade, and I'm just going to blend out the edges here a little bit before I go in with that other color. So I know it's looking a little bit rough, just like right up here, but I'm going to go in and fix that after. But first I'm going to go in with Rati again, and I'm going to put that all over where I put down the white. weird how like that just created a like negative space right there. I don't know how that happened, but I'm gonna leave it because I do want to put some glitter in there afterwards. Alright, I'm gonna fix this little boo-boo right up here by going in with an eyeliner pencil. And I'm just running it over just where I spilled a little bit. And I'm actually going to pull this cut crease down a little bit because I don't feel like they were even. So I'm going to cover up that negative space I have on this side because I can just go over with some glitter. And for my glitter, I'll be using my Steel Diamond Dust and just run that through my crease. So I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of that Bastet shade, and I'm also going to run this on my lower lash line. And just to blend it out, I'm going to go back in with Rati, which is the same shade that we put on the lid and in the transition. And I'm just going to use this shade to blend out this other shade. And I will say that the Bastet shade really doesn't show up very blue on my lid at all. It mostly shows up as a gray. So keep that in mind if you were thinking about picking up this palette, that it's not going to be a blue like it kind of looks like in the pan. So I know I said I was going to do a popping inner corner highlight, but I don't think I'm going to. And to be honest, I think this look is kind of boring, but I don't really know what I can do with it to not make it so boring. But I'm going to quickly just put on some liner and mascara, and then I will see what I can do to spice this up a little bit. Okay, so here's the deal. I tried to do this crazy liner thing, and since every liquid liner that I ever tried that goes near my tear duct always smear, I went in with my gel liner, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. Yeah, I'm not loving it. So I'm kind of hoping that putting something in my waterline is going to save this look. So I had a little look around. I feel like there's a lot I can do here, but I think the one that I'm leaning towards is Ultraviolet by Urban Decay. So I'm going to try to put a lot of this in my waterline and then maybe like smoke it out a little bit. I could also go in with a purple. Oh, I think this is going to be even better. So I'm going to go in with Voodoo by Urban Decay. Still not sure how I feel about this. I feel like it could also just be in my head that I think this is kind of boring. I just don't know how I feel about it. Do you ever do a look and you're just like, I don't know. Let me know down below what you think. I think I'm going to keep this look in the video still just because I don't feel like doing another one. So, alright, let me put on some bottom lash mascara. So I'm trying to think what I can do to be happy with this look. I'm gonna put on one of my star stamps by Milk and hopefully that will fix it. Let's put that right here. Ta-da! That kind of did make it better, didn't it? I don't know, there's something about this little stamp that just makes me really happy and I always forget to use it. So I think I'm going to call it good with the eyes, even though I'm not completely happy with it. I'm going to find a lipstick. Maybe I'll do like a red with this. Would that be kind of cool? I'm kind of just feeling a nude again today, which is so weird because I rarely do nudes. And with this eye look, which I feel is kind of nude too, who am I? Alright, I'm going to pop on Jeffree Star's Christmas Cookie, which you guys know I love, but I do have a fun gloss that I want to put on top after. And this gloss is by Jordana, I don't know how to say this, but this is in the shade Cosmic Opal. And it's kind of like an iridescent gloss. It's probably like a wannabe holographic, but it's super pretty. So yeah, I think that is going to be look number one. It's probably one of my least favorite looks that I've ever done on my channel, but what can you do, right? So that's going to be it for look number one. Hopefully look number two and look number three will be a little bit better. I'm crossing my fingers and everything I have that will happen. So I will see you shortly for look number two. Alright, hello. It is time for another look with the Divinity palette. And today I think I want to use 4 shades, and I want to be working with the green shade, the yellow shade, this pinky red shade, and this shimmery shade. So that is what we're going to do today, and I think I want to do like a 3-colored crease like I always do, or I do a lot. So I'm going to start off by priming my eyes first with my MAC Paint Pot as usual. I did not set my primer today because from yesterday's experience I realized that these shades don't really stick that well if you do set your primer, so this is definitely the kind of palette that you don't want to be setting your primer with. And I'm wondering if that will have an effect on my rating on this palette. If you saw my last 2 looks 1 palette that I did with the Huda Beauty Emerald Obsessions, then you will know that I'm now starting to rate the palettes that I do try on a scale from 1 to 10, because I just think that would be kind of fun to, you know, maybe look back in the future and see what I think about palettes, and it's a good way to kind of compare palettes to each other and see which ones I like more. So I do wonder if like having a formula that's a little bit harder to work with, that you have to work with in different ways, is going to affect my rating. I feel like it should, because it will change the way that people have to work with it, and so some people might not like that. And if it's not like a beginner friendly palette, then I feel like there's no way I can give a palette a 10, if that makes any sense. So I have like an eye booger here or something, I need to just get rid of that. Alright, there we go. So you can see this color is going on really nicely. It's nice and pigmented now that I haven't set my base. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the yellow shade in the middle as a transition shade into the green, because I don't want to be mixing the shade with the green, because if I do, they're going to make a brown. I'm going to go into the yellow now with the same brush. I obviously wiped it off. And I'm going to put this in the middle because yellow blends very nicely into green, and it also blends nicely into orange. So, or red I mean, and it kind of just makes like an orange here in the transition, which is really pretty. And also just to show that it's okay to not always have the lightest shade in your transition closest to your inner corner. Like, it's okay to have the lightest shade in the middle if you want to. And again, there's really no rules to makeup, and that's why I like makeup so much, because you can really do whatever you want, and no one can tell you that you're doing it wrong, because there's no right or wrong answer to doing makeup. So as you can see, these colors are applying absolutely beautifully when you don't set your base, so keep that in mind if you want to order from Strobe Cosmetics. And next up, I'm going to take Milda, which is the green shade, and I'm going to do the same thing with the same brush, and I'm going to put that on my outer corners. And I'm also kind of blending as I go with this, because this brush is really good for packing and blending. And so I'm pulling this in a little bit, kind of making like a triangle on the outside of my eye. And I'm also going to blend this into the yellow, just kind of gently tapping it over. So I know I said in look number 1 that I was going to Sephora that day, and we did go to Sephora, and I did quite a bit of damage, so I plan on filming a haul video after this, which is something that we don't do very often, but if you want to check that out, I will link it up here, because I'm probably going to post that video first. And I'm so excited about a lot of the things that I got. I'm actually wearing a lot of them on my face right now, so a lot of them are face products, and I am so happy with a lot of the purchases that I made. Let me know if you guys bought anything during a VIB sale, or if you plan on picking something up. I would love to know. Okay, for my lid, I'm going to go in with Hathor, which is this champagne-y pinky shade, and hopefully I won't have to cut my crease with this, but I'm going to try not to, because I don't really feel like cutting my crease unless I have to. So I'm taking this on. I actually got a new brush at MAC yesterday. This is a 248 brush, not a 242 brush, and I don't really know what the difference is, so we're going to find out. So I'm spraying my brush, and I'm going to just start to pack this on. Way happier with this so far than the look yesterday. So I'm kind of wondering if I want to try to use that purple shimmery shade on my lower lash line. Should I do it? Maybe I should. Just not sure if I'll be able to not make a mess with this. I'm gonna try, so I'm packing it on my little, what is this, the Vintage Company brush. This is just like a very flat, like smudger brush. And I'm going to spray this. And hopefully that'll be enough to not have any fallout all over my face, but we will find out. So I'm just gonna start off by stamping it down, not dragging it too much. Oh, the shade is so beautiful. Wow, it's actually working so well. I'm usually not one to put shimmers on my lower lash line, and I don't know why. Maybe I need to start doing that more, because this is beautiful. So I really like how this is looking, so I'm going to take just a very, very small fluffy brush. And I know this doesn't look clean, but trust me, it is. And I'm just going to start by making sure that all the edges everywhere are blended. I'm also taking a very small fluffy brush, and I'm going to bring this pink shade down to my lower lash line. Alright, so I'm happy with this. So I'm gonna go put on some liquid liner, and then I'm going to also put this ColourPop Nude in my waterline, and this is in the shade Honey Dude. So I had a little bit of an accident with my liquid liner. It started to transfer, and so to fix that, because I tried to go over with concealer and more of the eyeshadow, but it didn't really help. So I'm gonna use my Stila in Perlina, because hashtag glitter fixes everything, and I know you guys know that by now, but I'm gonna take my little eyeliner brush, and I'm just going to go over right where it kind of smudged, just to cover this up. So it doesn't completely cover it up, but it's just gonna have to do, because there's really nothing else I can do about this. So this is going to be the final look. Actually, I need to put on some lipstick, because it's not a complete look without some lipstick. So let's see, what do I want to do? So obviously my first instinct is just to go with Pumpkin Pie by Jeffree Star, so that's what I'm going to do. And I think I'm going to top it with a gloss, but let's just see how this looks first. So I think I'm happy with this. I don't think I want to put a gloss on. So this is going to be the final look for look number 2. So far, I think this is definitely my favorite. My first look was not really one of my better looks, but again, I'm going to keep it in the video just because, you know, shit happens and you can't always be happy with every look that you do. So this is look number 2. Let me know what you think down below, and let's get into look number 3. Alright, let's get into look number 3 with this palette. I'm going to, as always, start off by priming my eyes. So I think what I want to do for today's look, I want this Katesh shade, which is this absolutely beautiful purple. I've played with this so many times off camera and I just love it. So I want this to be the centerpiece of the look. So I will be putting that all over my lid, but first I want to just build up a couple of colors in my crease, and I want to kind of make this like a rainbow look. So I'm going to start off by putting Aphrodite, which is this red-orangey shade, in my crease, and then I'm going to blend that out with the yellow. And I've not set my base, so I'm going to just pack this color on. And for that, I'm using my Morphe M321 brush. And I actually have a lot of thoughts on this palette, because I was kind of not sure how I felt about it. So last night I sat down and I played with it quite a bit. I didn't do like a full face of makeup or anything. I just kind of put shadows on my eyes and took it off, and put more shadows on my eyes and took it off, because I wanted to really like get a feel of how these colors perform on different kind of bases and stuff like that. And I will sum up with my thoughts at the end, but I feel like I have a better grasp of the palette now that I've kind of played with it more. Usually after doing a 3 looks 1 palette, any first impression, I usually have a pretty good feel of the palette, but this one I was kind of unsure about, because I did have some opinions about it. So I'll get into that later though, but for now I'm going to just put down this shade, and then I will start by blending this out with the yellow afterwards. And I'm not pulling this shade up way too high, because I do want there to be more space for that yellow shade. So I'm taking that yellow on my Ringlight 10S brush, and I'm just going to start by first putting down the color, and then I'm going to go over and like start blending more after. So the thing that I like the most about these mattes is that there's basically no fallout with any of them, which is awesome. Actually, that goes for the shimmers too. There's very little fallout in this palette. And my palette looks very clean still, even though I've dipped into it quite a few times. And when you do put down these shadows on a non-set base, they really pop. They're very pigmented. Next, for the lid color, I'm going to use my MAC 242 brush, and I'm just going to pack this purple all over my lid. And this shade does have a little bit of fallout. Now, I haven't sprayed this because it really doesn't need to be sprayed. It is so impactful on its own that it is kind of insane. And what I like about this shade is that even though it looks foiled, you can still kind of like blend it out. And you can't do that with a lot of shimmers, and I'll show you in a little bit when I go to blend this in with the orange. And my favorite kind of brush to blend out a shimmer shade like this into mattes is one that looks like this. It's flat, but it's kind of fluffy at the same time, so it's more like a packing brush, but you can also use it to blend. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that purple on my fluffy brush, and I'm just going to start by slowly going over the edges here. But you can see the blend that I'm getting here compared to this side, like it's looking really nice. And again, I still have no fallout with this shade, which is kind of insane. So I'm just going to dip back into that orange one last time, and I'm just going to run this over where the purple and the orange meets, making sure not to cover up the yellow. And just for fun, I think I am going to use Milda, which is the green shade. I'm going to use this on my lower lash line. But first I'm going to put down a little bit of primer so that this has something to stick onto. So I'm just taking a pencil brush and I'm just packing this on now without blending or anything. And to blend this out, I'm just taking my Morphe M506 brush with no product on the brush, and I'm just going to run this over where I put down the shade. So I think this is looking pretty cute, so I'm going to put on some wing liner, just a little tiny wing, and then put on some mascara, and then we can do the lower lash line, the lipstick, and some of my thoughts on this palette afterwards, so be right back. For my liner, I'm going to use my Sephora liner in green. This is in the shade Does Not Exist Anymore. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. For lips, I'm going to use my ColourPop Ultra Satin lipstick in the shade Ambush, and this is just a warm red. And then a little bit more mascara on my lower lash line. I really like this mini from, what is this? Smashbox? Yeah, it's called a Super Fan Mascara. I got this as a sample somewhere, and I really like it for my lower lash line. I honestly really dislike mascara samples for my upper lashes, but for my lower lashes I like having a small one like this. So I feel like I'm missing something in my inner corner. I don't know exactly what I want to put there. I'm kind of feeling like a gold or something like that, so maybe I'll find my little steely glitter. So I'm going to take a little bit of this Gold Goddess on my little mini eyeliner brush, and I'm just going to pop that, you see that, right in here. Okay, so here is the final look. So I think what I want to do is, I don't know if you guys saw my last review video, but I want to start rating the palettes that I review now. So I want to just quickly mention the Creepy Cute palette, which is also by Strobe Cosmetics. And since I bought these two in a bundle, I thought I would do like just a quick rating on this palette as well. So you guys know I love this palette. Like everything about this palette really speaks to me. Like I love the packaging. I think it is so creepy and so cute. And I love the colors in it. I think the color story is great. Everything kind of makes sense. I love that they added in the gray and the black. I think it really goes to all the pastels and is a great way to be able to deepen up every shade. instead of having like a dark blue to go with the light blue, have a red to go with the orange, you know what I mean? So it's really nice to have the gray and the black in here, plus it kind of keeps the theme as well with the creepy and cute. And the way that these shadows perform is just beautiful. And I think the only drawback that I have with this palette is the mirror. I know that's crazy to say, but it's not a great mirror, so I'm gonna take away a couple of points for that. So for a rating, I'm going to give this and keep in mind, I'm very strict with my ratings, so I'm going to give this palette an 8.5 out of 10, which is pretty amazing. Like, that is really good. Like the Huda palette that I reviewed last week, I gave a 7.7, and I didn't really have any complaints with that except for one shade, so 8.5 for this one. Now, I want to talk about the Divinity palette. Now, there's a lot of things that I like about this palette, but there's also a few things that I don't really think make sense with this palette. So I do like this palette. I will definitely keep using it, and I think that this purple shade is absolutely amazing. Like, can you see this? Like, I think it's just so good. So I feel like I could ramble on about this palette for a very long time because I'm still like a little bit like indecisive on how I feel about it, but I mean, the quality is good, so I'm definitely happy I bought it still, and I'm happy I have it. Is it one that I'm going to be reaching for every day? No, probably not. Do I think you need it? Probably not. I mean, I'm sure you have something similar in your collection. The shadows in this palette are not very unique. They're pretty generic, if I can say so myself. Like, I feel like everyone has seen all these colors before. It's just that when you put them together in a palette, it becomes special. So, oh, also the mirror in this palette is way better than the creepy cute. Not that it really matters, but okay, so I'm gonna stop rambling. That was all I had to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still around, if you're new to my channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.